still technically on the ballot, so it'll be interesting to see how many votes she potentially gets, even though she's not out there campaigning for herself. Josh, how are you reading this, and if, you know, this will be a message on whether or not Democrats, if it is a test on moral character for Democrats?
I kind of feel like we're in post-scandal politics at this point. I mean, to your point, honestly, like in New York City, Montgomery got elected, and he had some pretty crazy stuff on him too. You know, I don't know if voters care about scandal anymore, because there's so much of it, and I do think a lot of people have been desensitized to it. I do think it is a question of like moral authority, especially when the whole political narrative is about being like the morally like self-righteous one. You know what I mean? But I mean, honestly, Trump's been hit with just about every accusation. They have not accused him of murder, I don't think, but maybe everything short of that.
They're like, he's a dictator.
I don't think people care anymore. And so I don't know if scandals are going to flip things as much as policy does these days.
I want to push back and say that I agree with you. I don't think that it's as shocking, and I think that's a post-Trump era situation, not because Trump is everything they accuse him of, but because a lot of the people who accused him are that. But I think it's going to hopefully expose for the Democrats who are regular Democrats, classic liberalism, that this is where their party is at, and these are the candidates they're willing to get behind.
It might affect the moderate voters.
I hope so.
Like the swing voters.
I hope they wake up and realize that the Democratic Party doesn't stand for the values that they used to for the last 50, 60, 70 years.
Hunter Biden's having his moment now, and it's due to scandal, but that's popularity, and it depends on whether popularity is electability.
He's also very funny, which is totally
Well, it's less the scandal and more the fact that he was the president of one of the most embarrassing, I guess is the kindest word I could say, embarrassing presidents of human history. So I think
we'll leave Hunter Biden for a different day. So not a primary race today, but we are getting more results from California because that's still ongoing apparently. Republican candidate Steve Hilton will advance to face up Javier Becerra in the California gubernatorial race in November. That is what it was looking like, but this is apparently now official. Deborah, let's start with you, your reaction.
I mean, I'm glad that it's official. We saw what happened with Spencer Pratt. It was very disheartening. My heart is still broken for him. I'm hoping that there's something that can change it, but I'm a big fan of Hilton. If we can get any single Republican elected, a governor is much more effective than a mayor would be, of course. So I'm a big fan. I'm going to be campaigning for Hilton. I'm going to be rooting for him. And above all, complete contrast to what I just said about the Democrat candidate in another state, he seems like a good person. He seems like someone normal and not an extremist, and it's nice to see those people in office, or at least running for office. So I'm a big fan. He has my endorsement, and I hope that he can save California.
It's very interesting to watch because, of course, he has a British accent. The last time there was a Republican as governor was Schwarzenegger. He had an Austrian accent, so we'll see if that plays in there at all. But Josh, how are you reading this?
I think California could easily flip, actually. I do think this is 100% possible. I mean, I'm from San Diego originally. It's kind of a little red corner, you know. It's a military town. But I think California could flip. You mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was there. The California I grew up in was a red state. I flipped later. And so I do know a lot of voters in many parts. I mean, my family's all there. Many of them have come out leaving the state, but I do think things have gotten so bad that I think he has a real shot. I think he does.
California did actually used to be red, and then now it's like seen as just the bluest state. Chris, how are you reading this?
I looked at some of the numbers. Looks like, yeah, I know. Becerra, 2.3 million so far votes. Steve, 2 million. And then Tom Steyer, if you remember him, 1.8 million.
Put a lot of money
in
this race.
I know. Hundreds of millions on ads. And Chad Bianco, there you go. 841,000. Looks like 1 million votes more for the Democrats so far. Let's see if you can win some of those votes.
All right, I want to pivot away from primaries. We'll have a lot more to talk about them, I'm sure, as the weeks go on. But the House Judiciary Committee today held a second hearing on the Southern Poverty Law Center, which has now been criminally indicted. Chris, I know you've been covering this, and you covered this today as well. What are the highlights?
This is what I've been waiting for all day, by the way. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
He's been talking about nonstop.
Ryan Fair is the interim president and CEO of the SPLC. Today at the hearing, a couple things stood out to me. There was a line of questioning where it basically said, one of the members of Congress, so destroying pregnancy resource centers and Catholic churches would not qualify as hate under your definition. They're talking about the hate map, the hate list that the SPLC has come up with. And the response from Mr. Fair, SPLC President CEO, Congressman Gooden, the SPLC established its own criteria and any other group can create its own list under their criteria. So basically just dodging that question. He was asked about Turning Point USA and in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, why they didn't say that shouldn't be seen as an extremist group. Remember the alleged assassin, many believe was radicalized by online postings about Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA, and he basically said, I have the quote, but it's our position is that TPUSA expresses views that vilify other people based on immutable characteristics, exposing them to our listing. So just totally not backing off from that, still going hard, even in the wake of his death. And then he was asked why he stopped the program. And he didn't say that he stopped the program because they were caught funding the KKK, as Josh would have liked him to say. He said he stopped it because we believe hate and extremism has migrated significantly online and into government agencies. So basically, throwing the shade back at presumably the Trump administration and Congress, and there was like an audible gasp that all the lawmakers were rattled by that. And yeah, it got me. I was really shocked to hear that, considering the allegations. The allegations that one of the members of the SPLC was hooking up with one of these informants, dating them, got a joint bank account, and then they were paid $1.2 million. Allegations that they gave $300,000 for someone who was transporting and organizing the Charlottesville rally, sending them money, sending them $300,000. All these different allegations, and that's what he chose to say. So that's all I wanted to say. Very interesting hearing. You should watch it.
All right, well, thanks for the clip notes there. We are kind of running short on time, but I do want to get your responses, so your thoughts.
I think that the long statement stands true. What's the difference between what is the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? It used to be 6 months, now it's a couple of years and some congressional hearings. This post-scandal environment that we're living in, it's absurd that people are not having a bigger reaction. They funded KKK members, and now they're trying to shade the U.S. government because they funded terrorist hate groups and then claimed these hate crimes they stood against. It is absurd, and the fact that this is not a bigger story, and it will get brushed under. It's not getting mainstream media attention. We all know why. It's a shame that this story won't become a bigger scandal, but the Democrats know how to keep their scandals in check, and I think it's a shame and disservice to the American people.
All right, Josh, quick thoughts.
I went back and rewatched the Dave Chappelle skit of Clayton Bigsby after this. It was very much that type of moment for me. I had to just relive that. I found it very interesting. It turns out the SPLC was actually funding KKK members to maintain membership and recruit people, and actually had played roles not just in kind of like watching, but actually organizing key hate events, including, of course, Charlottesville. Allegedly, again, innocent till proven guilty. But I think this is the greatest Scooby-Doo reveal that we've seen in a good while.
All right, good ending, good ending. Coming up, though, House Republicans pushing ahead with a $70 billion immigration enforcement bill. Up next, the vote.